Welcome to Love and Lies Audio, where we present to you the untold tales of love, lies, and life after betrayal. Every heartbreak has a voice, and this is theirs. When betrayal enters your life, it never so much as knocks with fire or fury. Sometimes it comes in disguise, in innocence, smiling, small-talking, with ease absorbing into your world. That was the start with Lauren and Mark. I'm Thomas. 52 years young, married for 28, and I believed I knew love. I believed marriage was a safe haven. I believed I knew Lauren. I was mistaken. It started innocently, or so I told myself. Mark, an old friend of Lauren's from college, was in the city. She mentioned it in passing over dinner one evening with a smile and a flicker of warning in her eye that I would later come to recognize. "He's here for work," she said. "I thought I'd invite him out." I grinned. "Sure," I said. "Invite him over." Mark arrived that weekend, all nice and clean-looking. Dark hair slicked back, dress shirt, charm seeping from every handshake and laugh. I welcomed him in, served wine to him, complimented his necktie, and my existence was turned into an exercise of observation, patience, and silent calculation from then on. At first, all was good. He was polite. He laughed during Lauren's stories. He drank moderately and left early. I was the perfect husband, the man who trusted blindly, who smiled when smiling was appropriate. But intuition rumbled in my stomach. The way Lauren's eyes would stray toward him, just a little too long, the softness of her voice, the laughter that hung a fraction of a second too long when he entered the room. I started watching them. Not paranoia. Not at first. I just watched. Little things, routines. Friday night suppers, phone calls in the middle of the night, the way Lauren's phone would vibrate and she would take herself outside for a quick response. My heart did not beat in rage, it beat in strategy. I would not strike. I would wait. I would trap them in an ambush they had no idea was coming. I befriended Mark. I invited him for a drink in the name of friendly interest. I questioned him about his job, his leisure activities, catching him off guard with subtle questions about personal affairs, pushing limits. He was willing, hungry to impress, hungry to believe he belonged to something significant. I allowed it. I gave him little flattery, smiled at appropriate times, made him feel like he was being trusted. And all the while, I chronicled everything. Every look, every whisper, every touch, lingering beyond social courtesy. Lauren didn't realize. She believed I was blind, believed my loyalty was to blindness. That pride brought her down. I began planting seeds. Minor, innocuous declarations of integrity, honesty, cause and effect. I spoke about relationships tactfully, that Mark would get the impression I was teaching, guiding, coaching him. And step by step, the trap fell into position. The initial major crack came a night after work, at one of our usual dinners. Lauren had invited Mark again. I made sure to remain calm, affable, suave, the perfect veil of normalcy. I poured wine, asked about the weather at the office, listened intently, laughed in the right places. Then slowly, I steered the conversation. I talked of betrayal. Not outright, not accusatorily, but stories about acquaintances who had lost their all to lies. I talked of shame, isolation, and the weight of public shame. I watched Mark's reaction, changes in demeanor, moments of unease, and it worked. The first crack occurred the next day when Mark left his phone carelessly on the kitchen counter. I glanced down and stopped breathing. One thread, one name. Lauren. The texts weren't thousands, but they didn't need to be. Flirtatious, intimate, late-night texts that revealed more than I wanted to see. "I can't wait to see you," one of them read. "Tonight was amazing." Another. I didn't react on the spot. I didn't strike back. I collected evidence, taking photos of the messages, times recorded, documenting patterns. All revenge strategy needs is patience, and I had mastered waiting. Over the course of the next week, I subtly shifted the power dynamic. I began taking Mark with me on mundane tasks, lunch, walks, even a Saturday game of golf. I listened as he talked about his life, his aspirations, and in doing so, he unwittingly revealed more about his affair than he was aware. Lauren, in believing she was in control, did not realize the gap between perception and reality growing larger. And then humiliation in public. I sent quiet anonymous alerts to shared acquaintances, coworkers, friends, those that mattered in Mark's world. I did not deceive. I simply provided context, the flirting, the late-night messages, the familiarity that had no place being inside a workplace. Within days, there were rumors. There were fewer invitations. Reputation fissures began to appear. Lauren's panic was covert at first, checking my faces, watching my eyes, trying to see if I had learned something. She attempted little gestures, attempts at affection and diversion, and they failed. When Mark came for another visit, expecting charm and manipulation, he instead encountered calm, measured confrontation. I set out all that I had learned. Every dinner, every late-night text, every look and touch itemized and familiar. Mark's demeanor cracked, the confident mask shattered. Humiliation, regret, and fear replaced his charm. Lauren realized her mistake, too. She had miscalculated my patience, my intelligence, my determination. At last, no yelling, no doors slamming, just silent witnessing as both of these betrayers came to face the consequences of their behavior. Mark left shamed and alone. Lauren, forced to confront her choices, had no alibis remaining. And I, silent, tranquil, victorious, restored my dignity and control. Revenge, I discovered, has nothing to do with anger. It has everything to do with strategy, timing, and accuracy. The best action isn't confrontation, it's allowing betrayal to march right into the carefully laid trap. Within the next months, life regained balance. I did not reestablish trust in Lauren. I did not apologize to Mark. I lived in quiet, personal triumph, knowing that the most silent revenge can carry the loudest sound. Because betrayal doesn't just try love, it tries patience, strategy, and strength. And sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is just wait, observe, and quietly reclaim control. Thanks for sticking with us to the bitter end. If your own life has taught you loyalty, betrayal, or tenacity in ways that others might not perceive or comprehend it, comment below and share your story. And don't forget to subscribe to Love and Lies Audio, where every tale tells us silence is not defeat, and quiet endings are the loudest victories.